Welcome to Gnarly Metal After Hours, a rock and talk show featuring conversations with announcers, musicians, and fans about radio, rock, and records from the 80s. I'm Kelly Thomas, and this show is an extension of my Friday night show, Gnarly Metal. Today, my guest in the studio is a friend of mine who hasn't been by recently. I feel like it's been a minute or two since the last time you were in studio. I welcome AntiFamouz to Gnarly Studios this afternoon.
Awesome, and thank you for having me again, Kelly. It's a pleasure to be here.
Of course. Glad to do it. There's a couple of things that you do. You are a business owner. You also are the founder of a nonprofit organization, and you are a musician and a performer.
Yes.
So to refresh the memory of our listeners, why don't we start out first by having you talk about the AntiFamouz Entertainment business that you own and operate. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I go by AntiFamouz, and I am the owner of AntiFamouz Entertainment. I have also founded the Robin Hood Initiative, which is the nonprofit, and I make some music as well. With that said, I decided to start AntiFamouz Entertainment because while making music and performing, I realized that there was a disconnect between the industry leaders and the performers, and that's why I wanted to kind of try and rectify that. So AntiFamouz Entertainment is built on the local community, and we're trying to basically provide these artists in our local community with opportunities and services and branding and things like that to help them succeed. And that's where the Robin Hood Initiative comes in. As the nonprofit, we source funding as well from donations and sponsorships that I can then kind of divvy out to other local promoters, not just AntiFamouz Entertainment, but, in art galleries, with music, with literature and things like that to, again, help the community. Last month, we did a food drive because the SNAP benefits were shut off. This month, we're doing our annual toy drive. The goal of the Robin Hood Initiative is to connect with the community through art and music.
And I think that is such an important thing. I know we talked about this last time, but I feel like music and art and the aspect of creativity really has a place, especially in the world today. People have a lot of choices in how they consume media and how they get their music and their art. But there's something, in my opinion, about seeing music live and seeing art live that really surpasses anything that might be created in a more digital or artificial type of manner. To be able to promote and support bands that are performing live, to be able to suggest to people or encourage people to get out and support local artists by going to galleries and taking in some of the stuff that's been created. It's challenging for people to get their message, their artwork, their music out in the public because we have so much in the way of choice that it just seems to reason that having an organization like your own, AntiFamouz Entertainment, that helps promote that is really a benefit for anybody who's in a creative capacity, who maybe has an area of expertise in art or in music, but doesn't necessarily have the business side of it dialed in.
Right. And I like to say that music makes the intangible tangible.
Yes.
And I feel the same thing with artworks, whether it's visual media or, I'm sorry, that's my phone, if you guys can hear that. But whether it's visual media or performance art, I feel like there's definitely a place for it. And it's, shaped the world in so many ways over throughout history. I think it's very important that we kind of combine these mediums and, not just for the community, but for these artists, for the sake of art. And that's kind of where AntiFamouz comes from, because I don't do this for the fame, and with these other artists, I don't want to deter you and say you're not going to be famous if you work with me, but we're not looking for artists that only do it for the fame. We're looking for artists that are doing it for the love of what they do.
Yeah, and the passion runs deep, too. I mean, even to an individual like myself, who I am minimally talented musically, but the passion even for listening and hearing it, the energy that you get seeing a live show, the way that a song can transport you to another time and place, or it can help assuage some kind of sadness that you might be experiencing. it relates to us on a number of different levels. And
Definitely.
so my thanks to you for your initiative and taking a look locally in a way to help local musicians, because I feel like there's a lot being done on a national and even global scale, but that's not to say that people on a local level lack talent, because I know many
Right.
talented musicians and artists here within the
Oh,
Colorado
yeah.
Springs community.
Yeah,
So
just in the Springs, there's so
right.
much talent.
Yeah, so let's give them an opportunity and to be supported in a way that they might not otherwise experience because they're overlooked by an organization that is promoting people on a national or on a global level.
Right, right. Well, and that's, and again, a lot of that goes back to the reason that the leadership in the music industry and that disconnect with the local artists. But yeah, and since I started this, we started AntiFamouz in 2023, and then founded the Robin Hood Initiative in 2022. And since then, the network has built so much faster than I could have prepared for. It's a great problem to have.
Yes.
And that's why now we're able to do so many different shows. Like, I can host my shows. I'm sponsoring other promoters that are like-minded individuals, who feel the same way that I do about this, about music and about changing the music industry, and not just music, but also art and in our community. We're definitely expanding, and we're able to do a lot more with these artists. For example, on December 18th, we have a charity show at the Loft, and our headlining performer goes by Vet Life, and they're bringing a band with them. Now, they're a hip-hop artist, but they're bringing live instruments. Wow. And this isn't the first time they've had live instruments with their sets, but I've seen this now a couple times with a couple different musicians and artists. And I love not just the combination of the live music with hip-hop, but the audience, the crowd. Like, I can't even describe the feeling that came over. It was like they all were almost instantly mesmerized. Even last night, there was a show at Kinfolks in Manitou. It's a really small venue. You guys should definitely check it out. And if you haven't already, but even there, like, one of the performers pulled out the trumpet, and as soon as he pulled out the trumpet, everybody was just losing it. So, like, when we're trying to incorporate more of that live music with our hip hop, as well as and different art shows, and not just trying to throw everything into the same pot, like a stew, but this pairs well with this, and that pairs well with that, like wine or cheese and fine wine.
Well, it seems exactly. So you're taking it to the next level, but you're also allowing for exploration. So people will have a chance to sample something that they may not have heard before or been exposed to before.
Right. And for the performers, it gives them a different connection with the audience. As a performer, you live off of that. That high from the crowd, and, the love that you receive, when they're cheering, or, when they put their hands up, or whatever the case may be. Like, that's what we do it for.
Yes.
So, like, you as a performer, when you see that interaction, you're like, wow, like, I want to have that. I want to communicate with this crowd like that again. So it inspires them, and it motivates them to keep doing or do more with their work and explore more with their work, which ultimately leads to better work.
Right. And collaboration too, I would imagine.
Yeah, and collaboration with this network that I've built, not just with myself, but like the collaborations that I've been able to the sponsors and partners that I've been able to make, but the people that I'm working with are now working with each other as well. So it's like everybody is just kind of, intermingling with each other, and I'm not trying to gatekeep. So like it's just this big collaboration of a music industry community that's all just, now coming together in this local scene. And it's just awesome to be a part of it.
Yeah. When we come back, let's talk about what you have going on for this evening for December 13th for all of us here in Colorado Springs.
Sounds good.
You are listening to Gnarly Metal After Hours on gnarly101.com. On Gnarly Metal After Hours, I'm Kelly Thomas. My in-studio guest today is AntiFamouz of AntiFamouz Entertainment. Before the break, we were talking about your business, AntiFamouz Entertainment, and the number of events you have scheduled for the month of December. The first one is scheduled for this evening. So today, Saturday, December 13th, why don't you tell us about the event that's coming up this evening?
Gotcha. The event tonight is called the Bust Out the Box Holiday Special, and this is at Wagon Wheel tonight. Show starts at 7. You can get tickets tickets on Eventbrite. I'm also offering a deal right now for entry to all 3 of my shows for December for just $15 on the website. That's www.antifamouzwithaz.com. This show is done by the Sarge. We've partnered with these Bust Out the Box events that we host monthly, actually. Every month we do a different theme. This one's our holiday special. We're going to do some Christmas songs. We're also collecting toys, winter items, and non-perishable food items for low-income families in need. They're going to be forwarded over for the event on the 18th and then donated to low-income families in the District 11 school district. The 13th show, the tickets are $10. Like I said, you can get them on Eventbrite or you can get them on our website. At the door, it's $15. A portion of those proceeds will also be donated to the nonprofit, the Robin Hood Initiative, that will help keep doing these events. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to stay in touch with the community, and we figure we have an audience, we have a platform, and we wouldn't be doing our due diligence if we weren't supporting our community at the same time of supporting ourselves.
Right. And without getting too political, this is just a general observation. But I think we are seeing a lot of people experiencing an increase in difficult times. Not saying it hits everybody, but some people are kind of, I hate to say hard on their luck, but or down on their luck. And sometimes it's due to no fault of their own. It's just the changes that are taking place in our society, not just locally, but globally. And knowing that there are organizations out there like your own who are acknowledging that there are people in our community who need help. First and foremost, I think is a wonderful step in the right direction. So I'm really glad you guys are doing that.
Yeah, and we try to keep it very apolitical. I mean, we understand that people have different viewpoints, and it is a very tremulous time right now. And people are struggling, but our viewpoint is this is our community. Doesn't really matter what side of the aisle they lean on. If they need help, and we're able to, then it's our responsibility to help them.
And I seem to recall when we talked last time that you had an event going on in December of last year as well. So please refresh my memory. Was this the same type of event, a Bust Out the Box event, or was it a different event that you had going on last year in December compared to this year in December?
So last year's event was more similar to our event on December 18th at the Loft.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, so the last year is my AntiFamouz's toy drive. And that one was at Storybrook Brewing last year.
That's right.
Yeah, so and that one was pretty cool. It was a pretty good turnout. Everybody had a good time. We had some kids coming up and singing some Christmas carols. So yeah, it was a fun time. So and at this one again, the next show is on December 18th at the Loft in Old Colorado City. That one is free entry. We do encourage you to bring a toy, winter items, or non-perishable to donate to low-income families. But yeah, live music. We're going to have a raffle for day passes to the Great Wolf Lodge. We're going to have games where you can win gift cards and merchandise, and it's going to be a really fun time.
So let's talk a little bit about Bust Out the Box events. You said that this is done in cooperation with the Sarge.
Right.
And it's at Wagon Wheel. Is the location the same every month, or do you move to different venues?
So the Bust Out the Box is a residency at Wagon Wheel. So again, big shout out to Wagon Wheel for letting us do this. And the Sarge LLC, or the Sarge is who runs this. And basically it's mostly introductory shows for upcoming artists. I'm not saying that all of our shows are just for upcoming artists, but primarily that's why we started Bust Out the Box. So yeah, with that in mind, we decided to work together to bring in all these new artists, and we kind of scout what artists would be best for each particular show. And if there are any artists out here looking or interested in trying to book a spot or trying to get in there, we work with hip hop artists, we work with bands, we work with performance arts as well as visual artists. So, I mean, if you guys are interested, reach out to us. We're on Facebook, AntiFamouz with a Z, or the Sarge LLC. I believe he has a website, but I don't have it memorized offhand. I'm sorry, bro. Or you can reach out to me on antifamouz.com.
One of the things that inspires me listening to what you say is in the world of work, in the business world, I think people are faced with a challenge that is they have a specific industry that they want to start working in, but they are not really able to move into that industry unless they have experience. It sounds similar in the music world. You're not going to get that recognition unless you have experience. So you're kind of opening up the stage and giving them an option to get that experience, which would help them kind of polish their shows and have more exposure, hopefully opening up the opportunity for future. And with that in mind, I just want to clarify one thing. The artists you're featuring, these are artists who are local to Colorado Springs, or are you local to more on a regional perspective, like to the state of Colorado?
For now, it's more regional to Colorado Springs. But again, I mean, well, I can't even say that because some of our artists are from Florence, some of our artists are from Pueblo, or so. I mean, we're expanding outside of Colorado Springs.
Maybe southern Colorado for the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, but and the fringes. But 2026, I really want to focus more in the Fort Collins area, Boulder area, and not specifically Denver because I feel like Denver has kind of their own vibe. But the fringes around Colorado Springs, and again, I'm trying to reach out to the community, so not necessarily the major cities, right? Because they already have a community built. But the places where, there's a lot of music and there's just nobody really talking about it.
I get it. We talked about your event coming up tonight on December 13th, the one coming up.
And I'll be performing tonight.
Awesome.
I forgot to mention that. I don't usually perform at my shows, but I'm performing tonight, so that'll be really fun.
What, no kidding. Yeah. Excellent. So December 13th event tonight, December 18th event coming up next Saturday night. You also have one scheduled for the 20th. So when we come back from our commercial break, we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Sounds good.
In the meantime, this is Gnarly Metal After Hours on gnarly101.com. Welcome back to Gnarly Metal After Hours. I'm Kelly Thomas. My guest in the studio today is AntiFamouz. He's been here, to join us in the past and has come by to talk about some events taking place locally to all of us here in Colorado Springs. Before the break, I made a mistake, and I want you to correct me on it. For some reason, I thought December 18th was a Saturday. Turns out it's not.
Right. Yeah, so December 18th will be next Thursday. And that show is the Colorado Christmas with AntiFamouz and Friends. I reached out in this network, this community I was talking about, and we got a bunch of local artists to perform. Like I said, this one's also the toy drive. We're collecting, it's free entry, but we encourage you to bring a toy, unopened and unwrapped, any winter gear, coats, gloves, hats, scarves, or non-perishable food items. And at the event, we're going to have games with prizes like gift cards and merchandise. We're going to have a raffle for day passes to the Great Wolf Lodge, plus live music with a band for a headliner, Vet Life. So yeah, it's going to be a really great time.
One of the bits of publicity that you had, I was looking at this morning, had mentioned multi-genre musicians or music groups. Is that for the event coming up on the 18th, or is it tonight's event on the 13th?
For me, multi-genre, so most of my events are kind of multi-genre, but it's not necessarily something that I advertise because some events are a specific genre. What you're seeing or referring to are the Bust Out the Box events. So all of our Bust Out the Box events are multi-genre events. So at any given Bust Out the Box, we could have blues, we could have hip-hop, we could have rock, we could have, it's kind of a roll of the dice. Now, again, some shows are tailored toward other things. Like I know we have a show coming up. I'm not sure what month it is, but where we have a prominent blues band. That's why it popped up. That's going to be performing, and we tried to focus a lot more bands at that show. But again, they're not all blues bands. They're bands.
Yeah.
So yeah, multi-genre. If you're talented, you're a great musician. That's Bust Out the Box. We want you. And that one's at Wagon Wheel. So Bust Out the Box is at Wagon Wheel. The Colorado Christmas is at the Loft in Old Colorado City.
And both of these events, the event coming up tonight and the event on the 18th, are they all ages show?
The one tonight is not an all ages. It's 18 and up because we will also have dancers there. I'm not exactly sure what their show entails, but I know that there's going to be dancers there as well as hip hop. At the 18th, the charity show, that one is all ages. In fact, my kids will be there, so come on out, bring the kids. They can hang out with mine. We can have a good time. Hopefully they won't get into too much trouble together.
Yeah, and let's just, as an aside, mention that your kids are in the studio with us today,
Yes.
and they are being on their best behavior. So
I'm trying to.
Now let's talk about the show you have planned for December 20th. I'm thinking that this show might be an adult-only show.
Yes. So this one is called the Bad Santa Showcase. And this one is also 18 and up. Kind of like this Bust Out the Box, we will also have burlesque dancers. This is going to be a hip-hop show with the burlesque dancers where basically we're going to lead the night off with hip-hop. We're going to have the burlesque dancers have a full hour where they can put on their own show and then finish it off with our headliners of that night for the showcase. And the headliners for the Bad Santa Showcase are going to be the Sarge, who's hosting the Bust Out the Box, as well as a good friend of mine, Van de Man, who performs out in Pueblo.
Let's talk a little bit about your experience as a musician, as a performer. When did you decide that this was a career path that you wanted to follow, or is it something that you're doing more just because you love it?
So I started just because I loved it, and I never really, I legitimately, well, maybe when I was like 15, I thought I was going to be a rock star, but probably about 18 to 22, I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. But it wasn't until my friend, my brother, Tevin Malone, so big shout out, he's a part of Vet Life, but he's the one who kind of inspired me to take it seriously. He's like, if you're serious about your writing and you're serious about this music, then, then don't make it a hobby. Like, you got to take it seriously. And since then, I've been, I started focusing a little bit more on my writing, and then my first performance was in 2018, and just kind of growing from there. But yeah, it's definitely been a learning curve.
Sure.
But yeah.
Well, you were talking off the air about the fact that you started playing a musical instrument at a very young age, and that was how you learned to read music. Do you care to share which instrument you started?
Sure. So yeah, I was in band when I was in school. I played the baritone, which for those of you who don't know is a brass instrument, similar to the tuba or a trumpet. I'd like to say it's actually more similar to the trumpet, but nobody will believe you if you see it. But anyways, that's when I learned how to read music. And from there, I decided I was going to get a guitar. And then I learned how to play guitar. And then I moved out to Colorado, fast forward a couple years. And that's when I started to teach myself how to play piano. And I'm no, Mozart or anything. But I can play a couple keys, and decided I would kind of teach that to my children as well.
Yes.
So like right now, my kids are learning violin in school. My daughter is learning guitar, and my son's learning piano. Our house is a very musical household.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
You have a summer event coming up. I know you did one last year, and I'm guessing this is kind of a recurring event. Is that right? So
yes.
Summer Buzz?
Summer Buzz started in 2023 with AntiFamouz Entertainment, and we've been going strong ever since.
Terrific. When we come back, let's talk about Summer Buzz 2026. You're listening to Gnarly Metal After Hours on gnarly101.com. We'll be right back. We were talking before the break about the Summer Buzz. You were talking about the progression of the Summer Buzz series starting in 2023 at a very small venue, if you will, and how it's progressed into something much larger over the past couple of years. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, so 2023 is when I decided I would start Summer Buzz, and that's Buzz with 3 Z's, because the buzz isn't about the alcohol, it's about the vibe. But yeah, we started Summer Buzz in partnership with Roll Up Restaurants, which is right on Southern Colorado Springs, or Security Fountain, or Security Widefield. And yeah, so they gave us a spot. It was in their parking lot. I built a stage, like an 8 by 12-foot stage, had a couple local guys, friends of mine, perform. The most amount of people that were there was maybe like 30 people. But it was still a great time. Everybody enjoyed themselves, and it was an outdoor event, and it was really fun. So the next year, we decided we wanted to do that again, but we wanted to add, a little something, right? And like we were talking about before with experimenting with art, last year's was at Sunshine Studios Live, and we had a antique car show. So that was really cool. We got pictures of my son in some of the classic cars.
Excellent.
So yeah, we had the car show there. We had a band, the Sarge's band was our headliner for that event as well. That one, I think we had, I want to say 150 people or so. So that one was a really fun one. It was very spread out though, and I realized that we had people outside, we had people inside, and I was like, we need to pick one, either an inside show or an outside show. So I decided outside. Well, this year we decided we were going to rent out America the Beautiful Park and do our Summer Buzz Festival there.
Yeah.
And going into it, we knew that it was going to be ambitious. We knew that we've never done something like this at this scale before. Just the permits alone was holy wow. Yeah. There was a lot of stuff, a lot of tape we had to cut through, and a lot of stuff we needed to figure out. And there was a handful of things that we learned after the fact.
Unfortunately, that happens.
Yes. So, we kind of took notes. We made sure, to prepare for everything. But yeah, so Summer Buzz last year, 2025, was at America the Beautiful Park. It was a 2-day outdoor festival. We had a food truck. We had a beer garden donated by Bristol Brewery. We were sponsored by solely by local businesses. Our main sponsor was the Green Source. We had a lot of local sponsors, and it was a really great time. We were able to put on over 30 local performers across 2 stages for 2 days.
That's incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, and it was awesome. With that said, we also had some heavy Woodstock vibes because it started raining and it was hailing and we had performers out there getting drenched. But again, I'm looking for performers that do this for the love of what they do. So when it started raining, they're like, and we had, I'll still perform. The band I was telling you about, Lucidelics, they performed in the rain, which is just crazy because the bands, they have a lot of equipment,
Yeah.
So it's like, just for them to be like, you know what, we'll do it. I'm like, what?
Yes.
It was amazing. So, the show was great. Everybody had a wonderful time. We didn't have any situations. We didn't have to call the police or anything. And it was a great time. Now, there were some learning curves that we're addressing for 2026, but we are definitely going to be doing this again in 2026. And next year, we'll have 2 stages again. We'll have an opener stage and a headliner stage. It'll be at least 2 days. We might do 3 days just to see, depending on everything. We want to match the 30 performers, if not do more, and across all genres. So we'll have hip-hop out there, we'll have rock, we'll have some EDM to kind of close off the night with some light shows and lasers and stuff like that. And yeah, same thing with food trucks and beer garden. We'll have various different vendors, tie-dye station, activities for the kids, for the whole family, because it will be an all-ages event. And again, sponsored by local businesses.
If there are people listening who own their own business or they have a local business and they'd like to become involved and affiliated with Summer Buzz, how can they get in touch with you and where would they find out more information?
Yeah, so there's information about sponsorships and donations on our website, www.antifamouzwithaz.com. And with that said, if you're a local business or a small local business, I should say, who's looking for marketing, we do offer a variety of sponsorship packages that give you marketing options, from your logo on our flyers and stuff like that, honorable mentions to having your banner on the stage or even naming a stage after you at the show. Or after your business. So if you're looking for marketing, we have a bunch of different sponsorship opportunities. If you just want to help out and do something good for the community or for the music scene, we also can take donations through the Robin Hood initiative. Those donations are 100% tax deductible. Now we will give you an honorable mention at the show anyways, because we appreciate our donors and anybody who's in the local music community trying to make this work. So we're still going to give you some love, and you can write it off on your taxes. So make sure you can get that back from Uncle Sam.
All right. And one final question before we wrap things up here. How would bands get themselves in front of you to be considered, to be scouted, I guess, for this event?
Right. Email will be the best way to contact me. You can reach me on Facebook at AntiFamouz with a Z, but email would be the best form of contact. And for any bands that are interested in performing, I'll just need a mix of a couple of the songs that you would perform, the same genre-like songs that you would perform. And then we determine, it's me and a whole team of people that will determine who's going to actually perform. Just because I can't go through, like I said, there was 30 different performers.
Yeah.
That's a lot of sets to go through. So I have a team to help me kind of fine tune it and funnel it down to, these are going to be the best performers. These are going to be the best for the show. We're opening up right now. We're opening up bookings for Summer Buzz, for bands and for any other performers or performance artists. We are now officially opened up our bookings. So go on to our website, www.antifamouzwithaz, and contact me. There's a little segment on there where you can put in your name and your email and your little message. Just say you're interested in Summer Buzz, and I'll respond, and we'll go from there.
That's great. Any closing thoughts from you, my friend?
Really just, I want to say thank you for having us again and for being so vocal about the local community and our music community and helping us out with this. We're also a local business and we're trying to grow and build this community, and this helps a lot. So I just want to say thank you very much.
You're welcome. And thank you for everything that you do and bringing music and art to our community. As you and I have discussed, I think it's an incredibly important part of our community. I also want to take a moment and say thank you to your 2 youngsters who have been sitting by patiently while you and I have adult conversation. We're glad to have them in the
Biting
studio.
fingernails.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. And before we wrap up, website address and what social media outlets people can find you on for more information.
Website www.antifamouswithaz.com, and AntiFamous with a Z is on all of our socials. You got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
You've been listening to Gnarly Metal After Hours.